So after the press conference, we're walking down this hallway, and he comes over to me and he grabs me and he says, let me tell you what's going to happen. His English is fucking great, okay? No language barrier whatsoever. When this fight's over, you're going to book me a private plane to Paris.
So Dana White just went on the Flagrant Podcast and dropped an absolute nuclear bomb of a story regarding Francis Ngannou that I honestly cannot believe he finally confirmed. You guys have to hear this. Wild. Dana essentially claimed that Francis put his hands on someone within the UFC executive team, specifically pointing toward himself and Hunter Campbell during a negotiation. Laughs in disbelief by means, seriously? Here's the thing though, I actually heard this rumor like 3 years ago on very good authority, but I refused to believe it. I thought there was no way that was true. Because let's be real, if you are a fighter, and you even look at the bosses the wrong way or say, I'm gonna kick your ass, usually you are gone. Cut. Contract over. Right there in the moment. So the idea that a fighter could physically grab a UFC executive and not be immediately fired, that just doesn't happen. It never happens. So I always assumed the story was fake because there were no repercussions. But here is where it gets even more shocking. Not only did they not fire him, they actually tried to re-sign him after that. Shake head in shock. Remember when Francis left and everyone was talking about how he was only making $600,000 and how he was the heavyweight champion and deserved way more. The UFC perspective was always, yeah, the base is $600K, but the real money is in the pay-per-view points. That is the incentive program. That is how they get you to actually pick up the phone, do the interviews, and sell the fight. If you hit the numbers, you make the millions. And this is where the disconnect happened. When Francis wasn't hitting those bonus numbers, you have to ask, why? Why? Was it a boring matchup? Maybe. Was the streaming service glitching? Could be. Or, did you refuse to do the PR and marketing the company asked you to do? Because look at the Francis versus Cyril Gane fight. I have some inside knowledge on this one. That fight was supposed to be the biggest heavyweight pay-per-view of all time. We are talking bigger than Brock Lesnar versus Randy Couture. The story wrote itself. You had the interim champ versus the undisputed champ. They were former training partners. They had the drama with the coach, Fernand Lopez. It was red hot. I remember thinking, this is like Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. But fighters always get this wrong, and they will get it wrong until the end of time. You are not selling a fight performance, you are selling a story. And frankly, both Francis and Cyril failed to sell that story. We couldn't get them to do media. So when the pay-per-view didn't hit those massive numbers, Francis ended up with his base pay of $600K instead of the millions he could have made if the promotion was done right. But to bring it all back, pause for emphasis. The fact that Dana confirmed Francis allegedly grabbed someone during negotiations and the UFC still tried to keep him? That is a massive revelation. It adds a whole new layer to why that relationship fell apart. I am honestly glad the guys at Flagrant got that out of him, because that is a crazy piece of history. If you enjoyed this video, you might like the video on screen. Leave your comments below and hit the subscribe button for more MMA updates.